Good morning, Miss and friends. We are from Group 13. Today we want to debate between the pro and the cons of cultural tourism, especially in Borobudur Temple. First, cultural tourism is a movement of persons for essentially cultural motivations, such as study tours, performing arts, and cultural tours, travel to festivals and other cultural events. Visits to sites and monuments, travel to study nature, folklore or art, and pilgrimage. We expand the definition to encompass the participation of visitors in cultural activities, whether those activities are the primary purpose of their travel or not. Cultural tourism is important for various reasons. It has a positive economic and social impact. It establishes and reinforces identity. It helps build image. It helps preserve the cultural and historical heritage with culture as an instrument. It facilitates harmony and understanding among people. It supports culture. Indonesia's rich culture begets so many inspired works of art, painting, sculpture, music, dance, theater, and more. From the ancient times to contemporary era, Indonesian artists keep drawing inspiration from the archipelago culture. Values and nature inspiring the arts can stay alive and progressing. Indonesia centrally located along ancient trending roads between the Far East, South Asia, and the Middle East, resulting in many cultural practices being strongly influenced by a multitude of religions, including Buddhism, Christianity, Confucianism, Hinduism, and Islam, all strong in the major trading activities. Talking about cultural tourism in Indonesia, there is a lot of cultural tourism that we can visit for tourists or for our material as a wider knowledge. One example of cultural tourism that is famous in Indonesia is Candi Borobudur Temple in Yogyakarta. In there also has advantages and disadvantages. In the advantages, there are the large Buddhist temples in Indonesia. There is also a lot of history there, lots of tourism from abroad or within the country.
So I'm gonna explain about cons of Borobudur Temple. The negative impacts that can be found in Borobudur Temple after the temple was made a tourist attraction are vandalism, garbage, wear and tear of temple stones, lost cracks, and water seepage. There are many types of vandalism activities, such as climbing the walls of temples and stupas, gouging reliefs, doodling, and blasting. Garbage found at Borobudur Temple was in the form of wrapping paper and food scraps, plastic, cigarette butts, human waste, leaves, seeds, fruit, broken bottles, drink cans, and ashes. Small trash can get into between the stones, which in turn causes blockage in the waterways. Besides being able to clog waterways, waste in the form of seeds such as orange seeds, rambutan, and barking can grow between the stones of Borobudur Temple. At Borobudur Temple, several worn-out constituent stones were found scattered on the floor and stair of the temple. The wear and tear on the temple stone is caused by friction between the sand sticking to the visitors' footwear and the temple stones. The causes of cracks are divided into two factors, namely internal factor and external factors. Internal factors include the burden that must be borne by Borobudur Temple, which consists of stable loads and dynamic loads. as well as uneven pedestals. One of the important factors causing the damage to the Borobudur temple is the problem of water, especially seeping on the temple stones. From year to year, the number of visitors to Borobudur temple is decreasing. This is caused by the discomfort of tourists and also the existence of the fractions in the value of the function of the temple, which is a place of worship for Buddhism, into a mere tourist place, so that Buddhists do not pay attention to what needs are needed by Buddhists. Borobudur temple, which is used as a dead monument, has removed a sacred value of Buddhism for the world Buddhism. They do not feel the need to visit Indonesia, so that tourists who came are generally cultural tourists, even if those who visit are Buddhist tourists. They cannot do it worship service as it should be. Borobudur temple is considered a cultural conservation and a dead monument, so that visitors don't care anymore about the cleanliness of the temple, as we have seen, where visitors bring food and drinks and throw garbage scattered everywhere. They also sit small children on the shoulders of Buddha statues while taking a picture and treating the place. The sacred place is used as a picnic place and destroys the both of spiritual atmosphere and moral values that are contrary to the majesty of the Borobudur temple itself. Thank you.
Culture tourism is a tourism activity that utilizes culture as a tourist attraction visited by tourists, with the aim of seeing, studying, enjoying culture tourism in tourist area. With the existence of culture tourism, there are so many benefits that can be obtained by local residents and tourists. In addition to being a tourist attraction, having cultural tourism means preserving and maintaining the culture and history that exists in the area. Besides that, it can also improve the economy of the country and in the tourist area, increase creativity, add insight to tourist but history and culture in the area, elevating the nation image, fostering a sense of love for the homeland, strengthening identity, strengthening friendship between nations, preserving nature, adding experience, uniting the nation, studying traditional architectural concept, and etc. This means that the existence of cultural tourism can provide many positive impacts for the country and the tourist area. Indonesia has so many tourist areas. They are widely used as cultural tourism because of the large diversity and uniqueness of culture in each region. So it deserves to be preserved and widely introduced. It's the same as the Borobudur Temple in Yogyakarta, where Borobudur Temple is a cultural tourist destination that is very famous for the story, history, and beauty of its temples. Since 2008, Yogyakarta has become a cultural tourism in the city. In the city, tourism development is adjusted to the potential that exists in the area, and it has become its own attraction to be attracted by tourists, which is proven by Frans Teguh, the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, who said that cultural tourism based on the uniqueness of local tradition and wisdom is one of the tourism sectors in Indonesia that is in demand by tourists. Therefore, it is necessary to organize tourism management that puts forward noble values and national culture, religious values, and environmental sustainability and quality.
Hello everyone, my name is Hubertus Fernando, and I'm going to tell about the cons of the cultural tourism. Every country certainly has cultural tourism, including Indonesia. But unfortunately, cultural tourism in Indonesia is still not well developed when compared to other countries. One of the examples of cultural tourism is Borobudur Temple. At the Borobudur Temple, we can see various kinds of monument with a Buddhist accent religion. This temple is one of UNESCO's cultural heritage, but unfortunately, because too many visitors came, the condition of the Borobudur temple was not good as it used to be. This because of a large number of guests who come to visit Borobudur temple. When too many people come, the guard officer will find it increasingly difficult to monitor the activities of tourists who come to Borobudur temple. This will later have an impact on several things, such as the first one, Borobudur temple will get dirtier and well not maintained during the crowd, which will have an impact on the damage to tourism attraction. I totally agree with Ivanq's opinion where he said earlier that there could be vandalism, a lot of garbage, loss, and damage to the temple. Crime will certainly increase, where later criminal will do that action in a crowd, and it will be very difficult to track them. The perpetrator will later harm the Borobudur temple's managers and the tourists. The management of the Borobudur temple will be harmed by the damage of the image of their good name. After that, more crowded some place will increase the price. However, the increase in ticket prices can be divided to two impacts, positive and negative impacts. The positive impacts is that it can reduce the number of the visitors who come. So the manager of the Borobudur temple can focus more on repairing, renovating, and restoring the damage. So when the visitor come, Borobudur temple can look more beautiful. However, the negative impact is that Borobudur temple will decrease the visitor. Later, this will make Borobudur temple unattractive. Tourists will look for the tourist attraction or other temples in the surrounding area with relatively cheaper entrance fee. The more tourists who come, of course, there will be other culture that enters. It will be greatly appreciated if that culture will not affect the original culture. But what if that culture is more dominant or even to the point of erasing the old culture? Of course, this will be one of the most frightening and negative impacts for the tourism, especially cultural tourism. This thing will certainly be detrimental to Buddhists. Buddhists will definitely come to this temple to celebrate big days such as Vesak Day. They come to Borobudur temple at that time was to worship on the Vesak Day. However, if the negative impact actually interferes to their activities, I think it should be limited and anticipate so that Buddhists are not disturbed and do not feel that their place of worship is being damaged by the tourists. Thank you.
The conclusion of the pros and the cons of cultural tourism is that there is a lot of cultural tourism in Indonesia and outsiders can visit. But sometimes, with dirty facilities and environments, many tourists are not interested in it. And also, maybe now the price of Borobudur temple is soaring so high, making it difficult for tourism to visit.
So our advice is that tourists should know what to do and what not to do in the tourist spots they are going to visit, such as not scribing on temples, not littering, etc., so as not to pollute and damage existing tourist attraction.
Okay, that's all about debate for pro and the cons of cultural tourism. Thank you for your attention.